And welcome to Imagination Fun Time. I'm your host, Brandon Devine. Oh my gosh, how are you folks today? What is today? Today is Saturday, June 19th, 2021. We are so far into the future. We are way past. You guys ever watch Back to the Future Part 2 in recent times and just think it starts off in 2015, and dude, goddamn, it's 6 years later. Nothing from that movie has come to reality, which proves Hollywood is just a bunch of fucking liars, or they're just artists creating something that we're not supposed to take super seriously, and we're just supposed to have fun. Who knows? Oh God, how are you folks? It has been a really rough couple days for me. It had a lot of really rough issues the past few days. Stuff I shouldn't bore you with. Car died on me. Lost my car. Got a new car. But it's just still really sad. I love my car. That car and I, we went through 6 years together. Drove from New York to California and back. Oh my gosh. It's like losing a really good friend. And it's sad. But you know what? I'm really just trying to look. You just know it's all part of life. You know, every death is a part of life, whether it's a person, a car, a satellite falling from the sky. I don't know why I threw that in there. But you know what? I figured with all the emotions I'm feeling the past couple of days, I want to put that energy into something creative, something positive. And what could be more positive than a podcast that you people are taking the time out of your day to listen to my sorry ginger ass? You could be listening to Bill Burr's ginger ass. His redheaded ass is a lot more famous than mine. And, same with Andrew Whiskey Ginger. The guy who has a Whiskey Ginger podcast. I used to work with him technically on I'm Dying Up Here. He was a main cast member and I was just a background extra, but still, always kind of fun. All right, folks. Let's see. What is the news today on IMDb? Okay. The top news on IMDb as of Saturday, June 19th, 2021 at 12:59 p.m. Let's see. What is the top news? John Paragon, Gamby the Genie on Pee-wee's Playhouse, dies at 66. I've actually never seen Pee-wee's Playhouse. I don't really have anything against it. I just never thought that doesn't look like something I would really enjoy, even though I probably would. I should give it a shot. But that's sad. It's always sad when a great actor, especially someone with a beloved role. I'm sure there's really big fan. I'm sure there's some really, really diehard Pee-wee Playhouse fans that are really sad right now. And I feel for them. This sucks. Rest in peace, dude. Vin Diesel teases potential Dom Toretto furious solo films and role in James Cameron's Avatar sequel, because clearly the thought with having solo films solely a Toretto film for the Fast and Furious franchise, clearly that is a decision based on creativity and what you could do with the character, and definitely not about just clearly trying to make money any which way possible because Anyways, is he gonna be in the Avatar sequels? That'd be fucking sweet. Wonder what he would be. I really hope he would be a good guy. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I would want him to be a bad guy. Actually, you never really see Vin Diesel as a bad guy, and he would make such an amazing, awesome villain. Maybe he's what's his name? Stephen Lang's superior or next to kin or brother. So who knows? That'd be awesome. Probably not. We will see. Okay, what's going on? Alan Hughes to direct WB's Marvin Gaye? What? They're finally doing something on Marvin Gaye? That's awesome. And I mean, anything by any of the Hughes brothers, even if it's just one of the Hughes brothers, that's always awesome. They've done some really amazing movies. I truly don't know a single song by Marvin Gaye, but I know he's a really amazing artist. I know he's a really good singer, really good artist. So that should be awesome. And I'm a big fan of biopics. Like, they're some of my favorite things to watch. Okay, let's see. Rick and Morty creator says Vindicator spinoff will dive into team's influence on Rick and Morty-less mission. Oh, there's gonna be a Vindicators. Oh, dude. For those of you who have never watched Rick and Morty, the Vindicators are basically... Actually, are they like the Avengers? They're just like a weird team that Rick, of like superheroes that Rick completely like tore apart. He's a... Shit. I might have gotten that wrong. I've only seen that episode a few times, but it was a great episode, and that should be cool. I think that'd be a good spinoff, even if it only lasts for like a little while. Hopefully it lasts longer. Steven Spielberg Amblin pick based on his childhood adds Australian actor Sam Raikner. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that's pretty awesome. Let's see, a pick about Steven Spielberg's childhood. I'm assuming that a big part of that pick will probably be Spielberg going to the theater to see Lawrence of Arabia, which I learned that was seeing that movie in theater is what really inspired Spielberg to be like, all right, I'm going to be a film director. That's it. I'm going to be just like David Lean. And not only did he become just like David Lean, I think he surpassed David Lean. Even though David Lean is still an amazing director. That should be a cool pick. That'll be awesome. Okay, people. Now, let us dive into what you people all took amazing, beautiful time out of your day to listen to my sorry ass talk about, which is the series known as Breaking Bad. Okay, at this point in pop culture history, most people have heard of Breaking Bad. For those of you who still do not know what Breaking Bad is about, it is about it starts off with a guy turning 50 years old. He is a high school chemistry teacher who has, he's got a wife who's pregnant, a teenage son with cerebral palsy. He owes money. His life just isn't really that good. And suddenly he's diagnosed with terminal cancer. So, he does what any normal person would do in that situation. They start making meth to make money. I mean, that's what I would do, clearly. Okay, so the episode I chose to talk about today is my absolute favorite episode of Breaking Bad, which is the episode called Dead Freight, which is, it was written and directed by a man named George Mastras. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It is episode 5 of season 5, which is the final season of Breaking Bad. The original air date of this episode was August 12th, 2012. I guarantee that day I was... You know what? That day I was probably... I'm thinking back, what was I doing around that time? I was working at summer camp in my hometown, 40 hours a week doing that. I think at this point I had started watching Breaking Bad on Netflix, but I wasn't watching new episodes at that point. Okay, the basic plot. Okay, so Jesse and Walt need methylamine to continue their meth operation. And so when they go to Lydia, the woman who was the methylamine and chemicals connection for Gustavo Fring, they go to get a barrel of methylamine from her, and they find out that the DEA has now started tracking all the methylamine in Lydia's warehouses. So, clearly this means, all right, now we need to figure out a different way to get the methylamine, because Walter will not go back to any other way of making meth besides using the methylamine. His ego won't let him. He needs the perfection, and that's a big part of his character, is his drive for perfection. Okay, so the great solution that they come up with how to get a new supply of methylamine: let's rob a train. And this is 2012. I don't think most sane people have ever, or any person has really thought about robbing trains at this point for 100 fucking years. Okay, so their plan is to rob a train that has a huge tanker car full of thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of methylamine. What follows from there is a very elaborate train heist, and that doesn't involve the classic train heist of, stopping, putting guns to people's heads, and then running away afterwards. No. What happens is involves tricking the train into stopping by having somebody park a car on the train tracks and force the train to stop in order to avoid a collision. So while the train is stopped, Walt, Jesse, and Todd, one of the guys who is involved in the new meth operation of Romano's Pests, they're simultaneously siphoning the methylamine out of the train car and replacing that methylamine with water to basically create a huge illusion that nothing ever happened, that there's no way to notice that methylamine was stolen, because they can basically, the whole thing is that, if anybody knows that this train was robbed, there's going to be huge federal investigations, and more than likely just lead to everybody getting caught. So everything goes really well because Walt, Jesse have, really thought this through. Everything goes smoothly. They get the 1,000 gallons of methylamine just in time. Jesse and Todd get off the train just in time. Oh my God, they did it. They pulled off a modern Western train heist in real time, and everything goes well. Everything is awesome. And then they look over and see a 12-year-old kid on a dirt bike waving at them. And they all smile and wave back. 3, 2, 1. Todd pulls out a gun, shoots the kid dead. End of episode. That is the best part. That is one of the best parts of Breaking Bad, is just how much it will shock you completely out of nowhere. That's just good TV. Okay. Theme of this episode. I wrote not sure because I'm not really sure the theme of this episode. I think maybe the theme is like Todd is a fucking psycho. I chose this episode to talk about in the podcast because, like I said earlier, it is my favorite episode of Breaking Bad because it's just so fucking cool. They rob a fucking train. There's not really any funny moments in this episode to talk about. It's just all the cool action. Like the entire... Alright, so the backstory production side of this episode was... The episode was filmed outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, in a large stretch of desert. The production had a difficult time with the train because, one, the train ended up breaking down at one point, and they only had like 4 days to film the entire train heist. So, luckily, through the power of Hollywood, they were able to get the train fixed in time. And plus, everything in this whole scene that you see is practical. The entire train is there on this tracks. Like, none of it's CGI. That entire train is completely real. So, like, for the scene where, my favorite shot of the episode is the crane shot where you see the train coming down a track and the crane pulls up to the side and then down as the train goes over the tracks, and you see Walt, Jesse, and Todd underneath. I love that shot. That is such a beautiful, amazing shot that just shows the amazing power of filmmaking. Just beautifully capturing this train flying by. But that shot, took apparently like 3-4 hours to film because they had to keep, they would do one shot and be like, okay, reset. And to reset, you literally have to back that train up like a fucking mile down the road. Down the train tracks, and then you gotta send it forward, which probably takes a little bit to get it up to speed again. And that must have been a fucking bitch. But it's awesome. It all worked out. One of my favorite heroes ever, Billy Bitch Tits Burr, is part of this episode. My redheaded idol. Take a sip of coffee. He reprises his role as Patrick Kuby, one of Saul Goodman's henchmen, think he's like a henchman. He's just like a kind of like a just like a criminal for hire to just help out. He plays the role of stopping this semi truck in the middle of the train tracks to block on the road to block the train, and they have it rigged so that the truck will keep breaking down until Billy throws a switch that will allow it under a secret switch on the truck that will allow it to start up. Be like, oh wait, it's working now because my friends are actually done stealing all your methylamine, so we're good. Really awesome. It's really awesome seeing him in this episode. He's always funny in this show. Everything in this train heist is completely practical, such as there being, clearly there's not actual dangerous chemicals in the train when they're filming, but it's just water. But there's actually a train car full of water that they're pumping in, that they're pumping out, while at the same time there is the giant 1,000 gallon jug of water in the ground that's being pumped in to replace that water. It's just everything you see is practical, in that sense. The only special effect in the entire scene is when Jesse gets run over. Like luckily they weren't cool enough. I'm saying cool enough. That would have been cool if they actually let him be underneath the train and let it roll over him. Like, that would have been really dangerous. It would have been cool to do, but still would have been stupid and dangerous. So that whole of Jesse, like, laying underneath the train and letting it roll over him at the end, that was a special effects shot. So the kid who gets shot on the dirt bike is actually, he's riding that in real life. I know most people thinking, like, oh, who cares? He's just riding in real life. Like, in Hollywood, they really don't allow people to do some of those kind of basic stunts like that. Like, even just riding, like a dirt bike through, like, some desert. Like, in the scenes, he wasn't doing anything super crazy, but still, like, riding off some, I guess, dirt mounds or whatever, doing some sort of a jump, like, just clearly, sorry, I'm rambling right now, but anyways, so the actor who plays Drew Sharp, the kid who gets shot, is actually riding that in real life, because apparently he's an actual dirt bike rider. So he could do all of his own stunts, which, saves production having to find a stuntman that looks like him. Let's see. Oh yeah. So the location that, for any diehard Breaking Bad fans, or like the people who like go out of their way to travel to find like amazing filming locations, that awesome TV shows and movies have gone to, this location, the location of the heist, is on the Santa Fe Southern Rail Line, where the train tracks come face to face with the road where the truck is. That road is called Spur Ranch Road, and that's outside Santa Fe. And that is the location of where everything was filmed. It's just, I looked it up on the map. There's a few, you can't see it in the episode, but but like around that area where they filmed, there's like a few houses scattered here and there. Just, so it is like a somewhat residential area, just a very sparsely populated residential area. Let's see. I found out when they were writing the episode, they didn't just automatically come up like, all right, they're going to rob a train. No, they thought of like a few different scenarios for, how are Walt and Jesse and Todd and Mike going to get, and Patrick going to get all this methylamine. So a few different options that they had, apparently, including robbing a semi-truck, which, could have been cool, just almost Fast and Furious like. Robbing a fucking plane, that would have been sick. But I feel like that would have been like way too unrealistic, because, if you're robbing a plane, like, it's post 9/11 era, you can't do that. Like, they would get caught so fast, so easily. It just wouldn't almost even be plausible to write in like them robbing a plane, because I just feel like anybody who robs a plane, like no matter what, you're gonna get caught. Except for DB Cooper, that guy didn't get caught. Let's see, all good ideas, but definitely going with robbing a train was definitely the best idea. Not only because it worked out practically in the story, but it just fits the entire vibe. Really just goes well with the entire vibe of the series. For those who don't realize, Breaking Bad is labeled as a Western, also a Western series, or a neo-Western series. But the whole series itself has so much of the themes that you find in the classic Western genre from the early days of John Ford and what's his name? John Wayne. How couldn't I think of his name? Like John Wayne, back in like from the days of like Stagecoach and stuff like that, Rio Bravo days, to the days of like Clint Eastwood, the days of the revisionist Western, the Gunsmoke era of television when Western TV shows were a big deal. This whole show really draws on so many themes of the Western genre because of it being, it's all based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and a lot of Westerns took place in this. Most Westerns really took place in, the West or the Southwest and stuff like that. So the big movies that involve like a Western train heist, like the two most well known in the modern day are Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 3:10 to Yuma, and also technically Back to the Future Part 3. Trains just always been, just logically, just been such a really big part of the Western genre, because for anybody who can remember history class, back in the 1800s and early 1900s, trains were still the most heavily, like, what's the right word? God damn, I'm really stoned right now. Damn you, dyslexia. That's not my dyslexia. I'm just trying to think the right word. Trains were just the most widely. It was the fastest mode of transportation back in the day. I guess the best way to put it. Cars hadn't been invented. It was still either trains or horse and buggy, or boats. Really, that's still really it. The only ways of travel, or just on foot. So trains were always just such a big part of a lot of Westerns. So just this whole episode, just to me, is a really big nod to the whole genre of the Western genre. To be honest, I guess that's really it. That's really all I have to say about Breaking Bad. For those of you who've never watched Breaking Bad, I highly recommend it. It is such an amazing series. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I think with every episode I do, I improve a little bit in this whole weird podcast game. Still learning the ins and outs. And if any of you ever want to contact me, you can always look up my my Instagram, bman71693. It's really not that hard to find. Would love feedback from anybody if any of you care to reach out. I want to improve in any way that I can to make this podcast the best it possibly can be. And the only way you can improve really is with criticism. But thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening to Imagination Fun Time.